It is a tumultuous and uncertain time to be a Battlefield fan, with the launch of Battlefield 2042 proving a lot rougher than people anticipated, or at least for those who didn't play the beta, because the beta made it pretty apparent that this game needed a delay, but EA decided to rush the game to launch, and the consequences were dire. Now, in my previous video, I talked about the tonal dissonance of the game and how that's caused a lot of criticism against Battlefield 2042, whose story is presented as this serious setting where the world has been ravaged by environmental cataclysms and warfare is raging everywhere, but then they introduce things like a silly-looking Santa skin alongside voice quips that just completely feel out of place in a game and setting like this. But more serious are the technical issues plaguing this game, the numerous downgrades and regressions from past entries, and just woe surrounding aspects of gameplay and design choices, visuals, you name it. Now, we are starting to see some updates for this game. Update 3, for example, included a host, tons of fixes, general fixes, UI fixes, matchmaking and friends, progression, unlocks, rendering, maps, battlefield, hazard zone, battlefield portal, and all of these different facets: UX improvement, conquest, breakthrough, dynamic world improvements, HUD, bots, audio, specialists. By Video Games Chronicles account, we're looking at over 300 fixes with this patch. Now, the end result is that players have definitely noticed an improvement with posts like this. Gunplay has become so much better, and here we have a player showing that hit registration now feels normal. You know, we're at baseline in terms of how that should have been, and yeah. No more ridiculous misses from point-blank range, basically. Now, as welcome as these fixes are, the fact remains that there's a long way to go for Battlefield 2042 to feel like the quality state it should have been at during launch. And the Disastrous launch and all of these factors are followed up by a major shakeup in the leadership of Battlefield. This is all detailed in the following GameSpot article, whose headline reads, "Battlefield franchise undergoes major shakeup. EA announces a restructuring of its development teams as it looks to grow Battlefield." And God knows Battlefield is in dire need of some kind of major leadership shakeup, as the numerous releases over the past few years have been rocky, to say the least. Battlefield 1 was a great launch, but Battlefield 5, Battlefield 2042, and even Battlefield 4, I remember, launched pretty rough, and this has just been a consistent issue with these launches, and there has to come a point where they have to reevaluate their pipeline if their games keep launching like this. GameSpot mentions here how 2042 has been swiftly criticized for a lack of features found in previous games and for many of its bugs. Scrolling down, you'll find details about how DICE GM Oscar Gabrielson is leaving the company, and you can find his farewell letter and message on his official Twitter page, where through a tweets thread he expressed his gratitude and appreciation for the time he spent at this development studio. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting. The shakeup also includes Respawn's Vince Zampella taking on a bigger role as the new overall boss of the Battlefield franchise. Vince Zampella, for those who don't know, is the head of Respawn, the studio responsible for beloved franchises and titles like Titanfall and now Apex Legends proved to be really successful. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a lot of people really enjoyed. Vince Zampella has led Respawn to success. Respawn is one of the few beloved studios at EA who are making consistently great games, and Vince stepping into the Battlefield franchise to be sort of the boss who is overseeing the franchise from here on out, that makes me definitely a bit more optimistic for the future of Battlefield, given Vince's track record and him being sort of on a roll with successful releases. Fingers are crossed that he can lead Battlefield into a more successful direction than it's been in recent years, and that when the next Battlefield launches under his leadership, it'll be in an adequate state that meets baseline quality standards that 2042 should have met by being delayed as necessary, but only time will tell. I'm not saying this 100% means we'll see Battlefield as a franchise improve, but Vince has proven to be a capable leader as someone who runs a game studio and as a developer So it does make me more optimistic, but still, I'm going to be cautious about that optimism. And beyond DICE, we've got 2 other studios who are going to lend a helping hand with Battlefield moving forward, with Halo designer Marcus Leto currently being in the process of building a new development team in Seattle, focused on injecting more storytelling into the Battlefield universe. Battlefield 2042 woefully lacks in storytelling. There is no campaign for it, and what interesting lore it does establish is ruined by the tonal dissonance and the tonal inconsistency with skins and quips that feel more like they belong in Fortnite than in Battlefield, but the story itself presenting itself as a setting that's supposed to be taken seriously in terms of its conflicts. Hopefully this development studio can contribute to storytelling that's compelling and consistent. And then finally you have Ripple Effect, which is essentially a renamed version of DICE LA, which worked on Battlefield 2042's Portal mode, developing a new Battlefield experience in the Battlefield 2042 universe. Now, the word universe keeps popping up in this article. I'll get to that in a bit, as there are plans to shift Battlefield into a more like platform-based universe type of thing. But yeah, we're looking at a major collaboration between DICE, Ripple Effect, and Leto's new Seattle studio. They'll work together to expand upon and improve Battlefield 2042 as part of this new Battlefield universe. But yeah, Zampella is going to have a lot on his plate, because on top of now being the new boss of Battlefield, he's still spearheading Apex Legends and the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and other unannounced projects. Hopefully he isn't stretched too thin. Hopefully he's up to the task. He did outline EA's plans to significantly grow the number of developers working on Battlefield across the company. They're really trying to make a major push for this franchise after it's been kind of struggling recently with the past 2 entries especially. Now EA is definitely trying to follow in Call of Duty success's footsteps, with Andrew Wilson having expressed plans to potentially release a free-to-play Battlefield game. And when asked about this, Zampella didn't directly confirm the existence of this free-to-play game, but he did say that the company is exploring every possibility as it looks to grow Battlefield to help it reach its full potential. Given the success of free-to-play first-person shooter experiences like Call of Duty Warzone, it doesn't surprise me at all that EA is trying to get into that foray and break into that market. But Brian B, a Call of Duty veteran who was hired by EA, expressed and emphasized that their first job and their first priority is to support Battlefield 2042 and expand it through its live service offering. I only wish that it didn't feel like developers were playing catch-up to fix the game to get it to a baseline. Rather, I wish the game would have launched in an adequate state so that it's already at baseline at launch, and everything after that is just improvements and additions to a solid foundation. As for who's taking over as GM of DICE, Rebecca Kotaz has been named for the role, but given Vince's more active role in the development of Battlefield now, I imagine he's going to have more influence over the future of Battlefield, and Rebecca is there to, I guess, kind of run things as Vince envisions the future of Battlefield to be. Finally, EA CEO Laura Meal emphasized that they're not giving up on Battlefield. We're all in on Battlefield. It is one of the most important and valuable franchises in the industry. Collectively, we're out to unlock its enormous potential. I wish I could believe you, but the launch of Battlefield 2042 has been a detriment to the potential of this franchise. Here's hoping they've learned their lesson. You know, that's what I say every time one of these rough launches happen, and history just seems to keep repeating itself. Alright, so that finally brings us to information about this whole Battlefield universe concept covered by GameSpot here in an article whose headline reads, EA wants to build a connected Battlefield universe. More experiences on the way. We got some direct quotes here below. Speaking with GameSpot, Vince Zampella emphasized that this whole Battlefield universe isn't meant to replace 2042. The idea is to expand upon 2042 by keeping it connected to other future Battlefield releases and creating a sort of unified platform. He expressed how this will allow Battlefield to explore new kinds of experiences and, this one's disconcerting, new business models, as if we don't have enough types of business models in our games already. In this universe, the world is interconnected with shared characters and narrative, which goes in line with how they want to enhance the storytelling of Battlefield. This universe is also built with our community as we harness the power of Portal and user-generated content that puts creativity in the hands of our players. Portal is definitely one of the best things about Battlefield 2042, many calling it its saving grace because of how customizable it is and how much much fun you can have with all these crazy game modes that the community has come up with. So them leaning on this portal mode is probably a good idea, and hopefully we're going to see a lot of cool things from that. But that's really all we know. It is ultimately emphasized that plans ultimately sound vague because of how early in development this whole Battlefield universe concept currently is, but GameSpot did note plans, aside from that free-to-play Battlefield game, for EA and DICE to potentially release a Battlefield mobile as well, and they're just trying to go all Call of Duty. It's the same three-pronged approach that Call of Duty has been going for, with the mainline entries alongside the large-scale free-to-play experience, and then the mobile version of Call of Duty. They have drawn in tons of players with the mobile version of Call of Duty and with Call of Duty Warzone, so no doubt EA wants a piece of that pie and try something similar and see where that takes them. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this whole Battlefield universe idea. It very much feels like what Ubisoft is trying to do with Assassin's Creed, where they're turning Assassin's Creed into this platform. Recall that back in summer of 2021, Ubisoft announced plans for something called Assassin's Creed Infinity, which essentially turns Assassin's Creed into a live service and a platform that is meant to take inspiration from successes like Fortnite and GTA 5, which is a game that, you know, has been expanding and growing and branching out for many, many years. And similarly to what the Battlefield universe seems to be aiming for with Assassin's Creed Infinity, individual games on the platform might look and feel different, but they will all be interconnected in some way, shape, or form. A lot of franchises seem to be headed in this direction of everything being interconnected, and I just don't know how to feel about that. I like sometimes when there is this hard reset from one entry to the next. It just feels like a way to further expand the live service aspect of these games, to add further monetization elements and new types of business models. It's really all going to depend on how these universes are handled, but given the track record of these companies, I just don't trust them that they're doing this because it's for the betterment of the gameplay experience. I feel like they're more looking at it from a monetization potential perspective. I feel like that's how executives are looking at all of this. But if handled correctly, maybe it could be cool to have this unified ecosystem where you have all of these different types of game modes and story content. But yeah, details on how all of this is going to work are so vague for both Battlefield Universe and Assassin's Creed Infinity that it's hard for me to say one way or the other, you know, how this is all going to pan out. But I don't know, I just have a bad feeling about this concept and potential ways that executives will exploit it. But I'll say again, Vince Zampella is now at the helm of Battlefield, a major shakeup and upending of the T-table shortly after the disastrous launch of Battlefield 2042. New leadership could mean positive change, especially when it's Vince Zampella at the helm, but I'm certainly not going to rule out the possibility that they'll find a way to screw this up, but I certainly hope not, and I certainly hope Battlefield can return to form. Until then, though, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the leadership shakeup surrounding Battlefield, Vince Zampella taking over this idea of a connected Battlefield universe. The general fanfare surrounding that idea doesn't seem to be all that positive, but players are seeing some improvements with 2042, even though the game shouldn't have launched in that state in the first place. So yeah, share your thoughts on all of that in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.